Should I buy a new camera or should I buy a new lens? That is a great question which we're going to look at today. So when you're looking at different types of cameras and photography, you may end up in the DSLR world where you have different bodies and you have different lenses. So what is the best place to spend your money? Well, luckily I'm going to tell you, because I've had a number of different cameras and a number of different lenses, which ones have worked out better for me. Let me show you. So, new cameras or new lenses. Okay, so this lens is a 70mm lens. You could pick this up for probably £500. However, this lens I've had for a number of years. I invested in this lens because I knew if I changed my camera body, I could still use that lens. This is my third camera body. That's the same first lens. So if you are going to be buying a camera, buy a second-hand good camera body, because those you will tend to change more frequently than you would your lens. If you buy good quality lens, if you're serious about photography and videography, this all is a bit down to the fact that if you're new and you're a beginner, maybe this won't apply to you. So I might say that quite early on, save your time, because you don't want to watch a whole video about me talking about gear. But it's more around how you use the gear and what you do with it. So from my first T1i camera, which is a 500D, I had a 50mm 1.8 lens. I had a number of other starter lenses like Sigma and the standard kit lenses. I slowly found what I liked to do, and then I brought new lenses. And the reason I brought new lenses is because they perform for a longer period of time. So one of my lenses I've had for nearly 11 years and it's still as good as it was originally. This does come down to the fact you have to look after your equipment. You have to clean it regularly and make sure you're storing it in the right way. And that all comes into the fact, if you're looking for cameras and it's along the DSLR lens, you want a new camera. That depends. You're thinking about a new camera, you're buying a kit, you're getting everything together. If it's a good price, okay, no problem. If it's slightly expensive and you can't budget for it, you want to look at different options. In that scenario, you get a second-hand camera body and you buy another lens, which can also be second-hand. However, if it's a long-term investment and you're serious about your hobby, you want to make sure that it covers you for a longer period of time. So let's have a look and give you some examples. So there's differences in cheap and expensive lenses, but there's no difference in used and new lenses, unless the used lens has a lot of wear and tear and causes you problems where you can't get good quality images. So for example, it's damaged or it's got a scratch on the lens or there's internal dust. So those kind of things are limiting factors. So let me give you an example. So let's see what I can show you here. So in this example, if I say eBay, no, let's look at old lens versus new lens. Old lens versus new lens. This will give you like a live example. Okay, here's a great video. First Man Photography is a great channel. Check him out. So he's got two lenses there. We compare the 16 to 35mm f4 lens against a 17 to 40mm in landscape photography. So this depends on the types of photography you do. Let me see if I can give you a quick example. Oh, excellent. So he's got actually the photos up there. So looking at that quickly, at a glance, I can see a couple of those that stand out to me. And they're interesting shots. But would I be able to tell which was a new lens and which was an old lens? In terms of how down the line are you? If you're truly professionals and you have that desire to get excellent images, that's great. But for the client you're providing the images for, will they be able to tell the difference? I've done professional shoots with a 12-year-old camera and I was able to give images which are high in quality. So a lot of clients will have different photographers shoot for them. they may have a client come in with loads of expensive gear, but if I can match the image quality and the requirement, why would I need an expensive camera? So it's something that you need to think about. Sometimes photographers get hooked up with the gear, but it's not necessarily the make or break of any gig. Providing you're proficient and you deliver on time, you give the requirements that you needed to deliver, and that all matches what the brief is, you've done your job. But I have a separate playlist where I talk about branding and how to deal with clients. So if you're into photography, you want to check that out, that will really help you.